CRM strategies empowering marketing and sales organizations to succeed. This is what Michel will talk about, Global CRM Center of Excellence leader with DuPont. He's a serial entrepreneur, business technologist, and passionate about customers. Michel brings a wealth of marketing and sales experience to help global companies design business processes that meet local customers' expectations. Graduated from HEC Lausanne, he has spent the last 9 years in DuPont, working in various IT, marketing, sales, and communication positions where he has influenced the way digital technologies are used to enhance the customer's experience. Please welcome Michel Meyer.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm very excited to be here with you to share about the CRM strategy and how we at DuPont have spent the last 9 years working on making it work for our businesses. So thank you for being here. Hopefully, at the end of that session, you will have a couple of takeaways for your own business, for your own company, that will help you proceed further and faster with your deployment of your CRM strategy and help your marketing and sales organization be more effective. Before I start, I have to say a couple of words about DuPont, but I realize that you're not here for that, so I'll keep it short. But I wouldn't do my work if I didn't introduce that nice company that I'm working for. And DuPont is pretty much in our everyday life. I'll just mention 3 products that you're probably familiar with. The first one, the Tyvek, that we use to wrap our houses, that we sell to people building those houses in which we live. Corian, that is a very nice material that we sell for kitchens, countertops, and things like that, as well as Kevlar, which protects our armies, but also serves when we do practice gym. And that's the funniest application, I thought. But DuPont, in reality, is much more than that. DuPont has spent the last couple of years trying to address some of the world's biggest challenges. We're trying to fight for the food issues that we face in Africa. We try to bring renewable energy in remote location in Asia. And so when you think about those couple of insights that I gave you about DuPont, you suddenly understand why CRM is so important to us. We're talking to millions of customers across the globe and literally billions of end users. And so when we consider the importance of the CRM program for the corporation, we understood that CRM was not only a way for our marketing and sales group to be more effective, but was also a way for us to better understand our customers' need, be more agile on how we serve the customers where they are, and leverage the network that we have in our businesses to be more successful in delivering our products. So all of that, has built the foundation and the importance of our CRM program. Okay? Enough about DuPont. I'll talk a little bit about our journey. And that's going to be the core of my presentation. Why that journey is so important. I think every single company that decides to embark on a CRM journey will face a couple of roadblocks. Okay? Whether you're existing customers of Salesforce, of SAP, or Oracle, I am sure you will face some of these. And really my intent today is to make sure you leave this session with a couple of tips and advice about the errors we made. Yes, we did some errors and mistakes, but also about the good things that we have learned as we progressed through those phases. So on that chart that you're seeing, you see 2 lines. The first one is the number of users for our CRM solution. We're using Salesforce. It's not a secret. And the second line, the gray line, is the active usage of Salesforce. Right? And the reason I wanted to show you those charts, although the topic is marketing and sales alignment, is because this has been a key factor of success. Only when we saw adoption of our CRM system, we were able to benefit from that marketing and sales alignment. So I'll talk in more detail about 4 phases. The first one I will call the early stage. And you'll hear me talk about the early stage. That's when we started CRM about 10 years ago. A very IT-driven initiative where we didn't have buy-in from the businesses, and we were really struggling to justify that for our commercial user. I'll then talk about the roadmap phase. I like to call that the roadmap because that's when we moved away from a fairly unorganized initiative across 11 business lines, 15 industries, to something that was a little bit more organized, but still very IT-driven. Okay, we started to have some ad hoc projects here and there, and we started seeing some adoption, but still, we weren't where we aspired to be. The next one is the customer strategy. And I think this is where we will spend most of our time today, because the moment we started to understand that CRM has to enable value for our marketing professionals, our sales professionals, that's where we started to see the adoption that we were looking for. And I'll wrap up with a couple of comments on what I will call the digital era. And there's more to say on that. I think future will tell, how successful we will be. But I'll just share a couple of priorities that we have in DuPont around how we want to drive that program going forward. Okay? And hopefully, I will leave you guys 10 minutes at the end of the session so we can exchange and discuss some of the questions that you may have for your own companies. Okay? So I talked about the early stage as being the first phase of our deployment. As I said initially, a very IT-driven initiative. I cannot remember at that time any business person telling me, I love Salesforce. There's a couple today. We made good progress there. Key issues with leadership awareness. You would go and talk to a marketing manager and say, hey, you need to invest a couple of millions in your CRM program. That person would literally laugh at me, right? And then connectivity and security. That was 10 years ago. So I think the dimension today is very different. We're mobile, we're connected, we're agile. But 10 years ago, being able to connect one of our sales rep in Africa to Salesforce, was a real challenge. Okay? So really, I think, one of the key learning from that phase is the right thing that DuPont has done at that time was to devote a couple of commercial professionals to work hands in hands with the IT department. Okay, so very early on, we realized that we needed to have almost like internal sales rep, selling the value of CRM to the businesses and making sure that the IT deployment that we had, would focus on answering those needs. The second phase, which I talked about, was the roadmap. And I told you that's where we started to become more organized. We started to become more organized because, remember, DuPont is a complex structure, right? 11 business lines, 4 regions, many, many countries that we're serving, and that, as such, was a real issue. Remember that today, DuPont is over 12,000 CRM users. It's a big program. So we could not continue to just deploy the tool as a tool. It was not sufficient to say Salesforce is just a database of customers. So that's where we started to take a step back. We very intensively worked with our IT department, and we said, let's start to think about how we can prioritize those projects. And you'll hear me consistently say that a CRM is a journey. A CRM program is a journey. And so we started thinking about how we could structure our different projects so that we could make the most of it for our businesses. At that time, though, I have to say we were still facing a big problem. And that big problem was we didn't have business process in mind. Okay? We were rolling out lead management to groups around the world. We were saying, you guys need to do demand generation. You have to do sales pipeline. We need to forecast better. We were talking about that, but we didn't have that tightly connected to the tool or the solution. So really what we started to do at that time, we started to shift a little bit our mindset around that, and we started to embed CRM best practices from leading thought partners, but I'm sure your commercial excellence team can do the same, into all of these IT projects. Okay? And along with that, probably something that I'm the most proud of is we started to empower our commercial organization to own part of CRM. Not own as you guys are now becoming system administrators. No, we started to equip some of the business people with the right knowledge required to deliver the right thing into Salesforce. And not only password reset, but really being able to fine-tune the data model, ask questions, challenge some of the technical assumptions that our IT group was making. And really, as we started to do that, we saw that the level of collaboration between IT and the function has significantly increased. And today we have, as I said, 10, 12,000 users. We have about 50 people from a commercial perspective that are Salesforce certified for administration. Although they're not system admin. That's not what we're asking them to do. We're asking them to be business technologists. We're asking them to drive innovation in those businesses. So when we reached that phase, we started to become a little bit more successful with the adoption. But overall, we were still struggling. Really, the turning point was when we moved to what I will call the customer strategy. And I'll talk in more detail about that because I think this is really, really, really the key enabler for a successful CRM program. The first thing we said is there will be no more CRM engagement unless your business has a clear CRM vision. Don't come to me and ask me for a project manager if you cannot tell me what you aspire to do with your customers. Okay? So to facilitate that, we partnered with Salesforce. We had a couple of other thought leaders like Accenture and others, but again, you can probably figure that one out in your own business. And we really helped put together a CRM assessment. We started going to talk to every single marketing manager, sales manager in a function, and we started asking what are the key pain points that you're facing. Help us understand how CRM can help you be more successful in the work you do every day. We structured that, and I'll talk about capabilities in a second, but one of the things we've done as well is we helped the business leader think about CRM as a journey. And I told you this is very important to me. You cannot decide to embark on a CRM journey and expect to be successful in 6 months, at least not in complex organizations. So we started to think about CRM as a journey, saying that there is an endpoint, and when you hear about customer experience and all these fancy words, that's probably the endpoint. But to get there, you first need to get the foundation in place. And that foundation is the CRM assessment, are all these workshops that we talked about, and also some of the other things that, the business awareness and education of the business people. So, as I said before, once you have understood that CRM is a journey, we decided that we forced businesses to adopt a CRM organization. Every business that I work with, from a corporate perspective, has a CRM manager, has power users and key users to support the rollout. And this is something that we have found to be very successful. As I said, when you define your vision, you really think about your customer first. So all what I said so far, remember that the endpoint, that customer experience you're trying to create, is based on the people you have inside your organization, but also the customer you serve, right? So don't focus only on your internal marketing and sales team. Also understand what your customers are looking for. And loyalty is a very good way to learn about that, by the way. So once you have your vision in place, the next thing that we started to focus on was building CRM capabilities that are leverageable. And I'm saying that because, as I said, DuPont is a very big, complex organization. Maybe in smaller organizations, you can shorten that step. But for us, building something that we could leverage for our 11 businesses that are using the same instance was something that was very important. And to do so, we forced a couple of thinking. First of all, we classified those capabilities in 3 different levels. The intent today is not to go too much in detail, but just as I explained that CRM is a continuum, is a journey, understand that some capabilities require prerequisites. You cannot aspire to do closed-loop marketing if you don't have campaign management practices in place. You cannot do forecasting unless you have your pipeline in place, right? So these are some thoughts that were guiding our journey here and where we were encouraging businesses to think about what is the right next step for you, what is going to help you achieve what your objectives are. So a couple of advice for you. The first thing is you need to define what a CRM capability is. This is something I cannot do for you. The reality is we decided to try and embed people, process, and technology, and I'm sure you heard these three words together talking about capabilities, but you really need to define what a CRM capability means for your business. The second thing that was very hard to insert in the mind of our leaders is that being world-class leader is not always the right answer. Sometimes it is okay to be average, okay? If your business is dealing with 10 customers around the world and you're extracting 80% of your revenue with these 10 customers, then let me be honest, lead management should not be your priority. And if you think of marketing automation as a way to connect with your key accounts, that's a great thing. But again, you don't need demand generation. You need marketing automation for nurturing purposes, right? Once again, a very important thing for me is as you embark on a CRM journey, remember it's not going to happen overnight. So just focus on what your end goals are and build a sustainable roadmap that will bring you there, okay? Adoption, maturity, tracking. Okay, tracking, return on investment, things like that. Very trendy words, right? I'm sure all of you know about reporting and things like that. But when it comes to execution, that's another topic. So what we have done at DuPont, we started to build a maturity framework. We started defining for each of our capabilities, we have 18 capabilities. For each of those 18 capabilities, we said, if you want to be best in class for lead management, here's what you need to achieve. If you want to be average, here's what you want to achieve. Or if you just want to just get it covered, here's what you need to achieve. So a couple of thoughts on that, and that has really been an issue for us. As we started to be successful, we also started to see that some of the programs that we initially launched became less successful. Why? Because we start to have multiple programs that run in parallel. We started to have multiple projects that were almost conflicting, and sometime your key user who was focused on lead management now needed to do sales pipeline and key account management on top of it. So a couple of advice for you here. Continuously monitor the performance of the projects you have delivered, okay? Never take for granted that once you have checked the box will remain checked forever. Make sure that you staff your team with knowledgeable people as much as possible. I know that's a real challenge, but avoid stretching those people across different capabilities, because over time, you will lose business ownership for those capabilities if that's the approach you take. And the third point is never forget to reassess from time to time what is the right thing to do for your business. It is not because you decided on day one that key account is your absolute priority that 2 years later that remains true. We live and breathe in a world that is changing every day, right? So don't be afraid to question the level of maturity you need to achieve. And the good thing about that maturity model that I talked about is if you document what the key performance indicators are and the expectations are from a performance perspective, you can always adjust upwise or downwise, right? So I think this was the key enabler for our success. We really started to talk about what are your business needs. We started to talk about what are your customers' needs, and more importantly about how we can tackle the challenges that marketing and sales functions have in dealing with their customers. I said I would talk a little bit about the future, and I see the time ticking, so I'll keep it short. But as we think about the future at DuPont in terms of CRM in the digital era, what we're seeing as a key priority is being able to empower marketing and sales professional to be more effective. You will tell me this hasn't changed from what I told you 10 minutes ago. And that's true. Actually, that's the whole purpose of our CRM program, to help them better connect with their customers. What we have found is once you reach a certain level of maturity and your adoption level is growing, then you become much more able to leverage nice, fancy, effective technology to become even more productive, right? Things like predictive analytics, things like demand generation with marketing automation, lead scoring, automated workflows. All these kind of things only make sense if your marketing and sales users are using it. Back to what I shared before, remember that foundation that will help you kind of differentiate yourself. So very quickly, 3 of our priorities. We want to drive sales productivity. We want to empower our sales rep to know who they are going to talk to and provide the right insights to them, whether it's the latest news about the customer they're about to visit, whether it's the historical sales of that customers. That's the type of thing that we're looking to provide to sales. We're also trying to make sure that the sales has access to the right content at the right time. We have great partners to do that. And so depending on where the opportunity lies in the sales cycle, we will offer the right document at the right moment. The second thing, which is a big theme in DuPont, is automation for marketing. Marketing automation has become a key priority over the last couple of years. And we want to make sure that we're better able to leverage the insights we have from our sales organization to send targeted, relevant communication at the right point in time in the buying cycle. So marketing automation, another space that we invest in. Last but not least, analytics. I think everyone in the IT environment or even in the commercial environment have to think about the numbers, right? And so there is a lot of churn right now, probably a little bit too early, but predictive management of sales pipeline, things like that, being able to predict when someone will pick up the phone if you call them, these are type of things that we're looking for the future. Okay? So with that, let me just close on 3 things that I believe are the critical success factors for your CRM program. First of all, you need to have a common agreement on the marketing and sales priorities. And this is achieved, as I said before, through workshops, CRM assessments, and discussion about your business priorities. The second thing is have a disciplined approach to business execution. Once again, you cannot rely on one person as a key user to deal with all the problems of your CRM program. Make sure you identify sponsors and people that are knowledgeable, people that can bring innovation where it's required. So make sure that you keep an eye on all of that, and make sure you keep reporting on the success of each of your program. Last but not least, a reliable IT collaboration. I don't think any business can be successful without the help of knowledgeable IT developers, IT system admins. And you heard me talk about the importance of the business as a driver. I truly and deeply believe that business should be owning CRM processes and priorities, but without the IT organization, we would not be successful. All right? With that, there's a couple of LinkedIn links that you can follow, or Twitter that you can chat on, and I'll take any question you may have. We have 4 minutes left.
A few questions. While you say your question, before you ask, may I ask everyone to join in our toy? It's a crowdsourcing toy. It means you go, take your mobile phone, please now, do me the favor, open a browser, go on the site voxr.org/expert. There you write a word or a sentence that interests you most, and the result will be a cloud of words, and the words that have been often mentioned will be larger. So that will be a nice visualization of things that interest you and interest the audience we had before. Now, just keep doing this and you ask your question.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
You touched base on the business process and it was not available and certain. I would like to hear from you. How did you resolve it? Have you integrated with the CRM? Have you created another suite of business process that the marketing take the lead?
Very good question. So, because we're a big organization, we're very fortunate to have a lot of resources working on that. So, in our case, that was fairly straightforward. The answer was we needed to better engage commercial excellence team on defining what those business processes are. But there are plenty of ways nowadays that you will find on the web on how to optimize lead management, sales pipeline. We decided to keep it internally. We leveraged the expertise we had in our own group and just started better collaborating. As simple as that. Any other question?
As you just noticed, your input changed the cloud of words. Customer and automation are terms that show up bigger now, and there have been other. Do you see the cloud too?
I do. Yes.
You see it on your
Yes.
screen.
Very interesting. Very
It's
interesting.
it is evolving. I'm trying this for the first time today, and I'm glad you join in. And it gives you just a rough idea of things. The talk before was about patent. That word disappeared, or it's in some corner. And CRM turned up now. That wasn't there before. So CRM, service, customer, automation are terms that interest you. So it gives us an impression. Any more questions? Things you'd like to know about the CRM? Yes.
Hi, I guess the adoption of CRM by the actual field resources is always a challenge, right? Is there something, some tips to increase the participation?
Yes.
Nobody wants to fill all those columns.
Yes. So I have a secret. Many people have secrets. No one has the right answer. We have part of the answer. I will tell you, I think, if you want to drive adoption, you have to use a mix of carrot and stick. Very often I hear people telling me, well, we'll use those reports in our sales meeting, and that's going to be our answer. It is not the only answer. The real answer is you have to create value for the person using the tool, and you have to use or create value for the managers and the reporting lines. So I like to say, when I have these people come to me and say, hey, help me define a dashboard that I can use in every sales meeting, and I'll beat on the salespeople that don't make their numbers. I like to tell them, think about how you can create value in the day-to-day operation of that person. And it can be as simple as enabling a feed of news for that customer, and just tell them, look, guys, in the background, before you visit your customer, just go on that page, on your account page, and you will see news about that account. And then you will see that this will create a shift in behavior, because your CRM system will become the place where your salespeople will learn about your customers. And because they learn about your customers, they will be much more willing to play the game and give back the insight. So for me, success in adoption is a give and take. Yeah.
I'm coming.
So, first of all, I would like to thank you because I've been in this arena for some time and I take it personal myself, but never seen that sharp edge the way you did it. So, thank you. My question is that in the CRM, from the technical point of view, from the application itself, we see some sort of a fashionable approach. So you start with a specific application, and afterwards, users are not that happy. The requirements are getting much more not out of the box customizations. Then you have a new version from another supplier. Then this is a cycle which you are taking something like once every 3 years,
Yes.
which is very hectic, time-consuming, challenging. So can you please give us an idea how, in this 10 years, how many different applications or different versions you used?
So we're a very loyal customer of Salesforce. So in the last 10 years, we've never changed from Salesforce. Furthermore, we have moved every single business line we had in DuPont, and that was using another CRM system. We had a couple. We had CRM Manager. We had some Oracle as well. We moved every single business to Salesforce.
So you think that Salesforce can satisfy your requirements?
Yes, I mean we're very pleased with Salesforce services. We have the size, we have also the teams to support. It was a good fit for us. I think what is really more important than the solution itself is what I said before. Make sure you have clear guidance from marketing and sales around what they're trying to achieve. After that, I'm pretty sure that any player in the industry can come and build the right solution for you. Anyone. Or at least most of them.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more question there. Do we have more
Yes.
time or?
We have a lunch break,
Okay.
but as we usually eat too much anyway, we might just as well sit here talking, you know. You're allowed to go if you're hungry.
Just to mention that Salesforce normally in the beginning they are little bit using the CRM and entering data, but when it comes to a point that you need to update this data and or comes to help the other departments to fix an information or an issue, the technical department facing or the operations department facing, it is hard to get them involved.
That's a very good point. And I see, by the way, big data coming up here, you know, as a key word. I really like that. It took me 8 years to get processes around data management in place. And I'll be very honest with you, I don't believe we're there yet, but I think you see an increasing number of service providers in that space. OneSource, Evention, Dun & Bradstreet, there's many more, who will come and work with you to automate part of that. And why do I believe this is the right thing to do? Because it's their key business. If you go and talk to Evention, yes, they will charge you 15 cents, 20 cents, whatever that number is per record, but it's their business to keep your data clean. And I have to admit, I was really surprised. I started investigating that space 5 years ago. Quality of the data was very poor. Nowadays, those data quality much higher, much better. I rely on those services, you know, like in the NIBLink. It's just fantastic what they can do. And I think going forward, those services will become less expensive and will become more accurate. So consider that you cannot just delegate everything externally. It has a cost, but finding the right balance is probably the right solution for you, I think.
Where's your booth? Where can we find you?
You can only find me on LinkedIn. I'm just visiting here, and I'll be leaving tomorrow, but I'm happy to get any LinkedIn request, any request for a meeting. I'm passionate about that topic and always happy to share with you some of my learnings and help you progress whatever you do and wherever you are on that journey.
Thank you very much,
All right?
Michel Meyer.
Thank you very much.